The first thing you're going to do before you start anything is move everything to the left side of the equation and make it equal to 0. So we've got 4x squared, and the 20x goes over here as a minus 20x equals 0. Got it? And this one's GCF. So we got to find out the number and the letter we can pull out of both of those. And if you're not good at this, you can take 4x squared and change it to 2 times x, right? That's 4x squared. And then 20x is 2 times 5 times x. And then you see what they have in common on both sides of that minus sign, which will be 2 2's and 1x. Everybody see that that's what they have in common? That is your GCF. So what's 2 times x? 4x. 4x. And what's left there that didn't get circled on this side? 1x. X. And then the minus sign, and what's left over on the right side? A 5. And you make that equal to 0. That is the factored form. That is the first answer I want. That quadratic equation factored is this. So that's your first answer. And then your second answer is, what are the zeros of the equation that you found by factoring? Well, if two numbers multiplied together equal 0, one of them has to be equal to 0. That's the only way to get a 0 when you're multiplying numbers, is one has to be 0, okay? So I see that this is a factor and this is a factor, so what I'm going to do is separate them and make 4x equal to 0 and make x minus 5 equal to 0, and then leave the x alone. So x equals 0 and x equals positive 5. So that's the second answer I want you to have. So you're going to have this and this as your answers, and then I'll tell you how to check it. To check it, put this in your y equals screen. You got to put the one when everything's on the left side of the equation. Put it on your y equals screen, and then you hit second window and make sure you're in ask, and then you just type in a 0 and a 5 and make sure they're paired with a 0 and a 0. So make sure you know how to check them. Next one is difference of two squares. Okay? So when you do difference of two squares, it's kind of like those clubs in big cities where you have to be on the list to be able to get in. You know, those special clubs that actors go to and stuff, famous people. All right. Well, I'm going to make a list. If it's on the list, you get in. It's a difference of two square. If it's not on the list, you don't get in. So here is the list, and you're going to write these numbers down so if you recognize them. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, that's 14, 225, and 256 is as far as I'm going. Equals 0. So you have 81. Is 81 on the list? Yeah. Is 121 on the list? Yeah. Does it have a minus in the middle? Because it's difference of two squares. And are any letters other than a square on them? Like you can't have a plain X, or a cubed. It has to be all squares, okay? So we're good to go. Got it? So we do two parentheses. Looks like you're going to faint back there on the second row. Two parentheses. And we have 9x times 9x is 81. What you're going to do is you're going to find the square root of 81. Got it? And then what's the square root of 121? 12. No. 11. And you're going to put a plus and a minus and make this equal to 0. Okay, now we make each one of these equal to 0, right? And if we make that equal to 0, we have 9x plus 11 equals 0. Leave the x alone. 9x equals negative 11 when you move the 11 over the bridge. Divide by 9. These are ugly answers. Don't worry about it. So negative 11 ninths, and this one's going to be positive 11 ninths. 9x minus 11 equals 0. 9x equals 11. divided by 9, x equals 11/9. So those are your two answers. So this is one answer, and this is the other two that I want on your sheet.